The Hot Talk Morning Show on WRNN.
Hot Talk 99.5, the Hot Talk Morning Show with Dave Priest and Liz Calloway. Dave will be back on the 20th, and we have Pat Taylor here, Travis Janely, Tom O'Dare. We are just jam-packed with awesome gentlemen, I might add. And joining us on the phone from Indonesia right now is a friend of the show, also a frequent guest co-host. We have Robert Johnson on with us. He's in the middle or wrapping up his safari trip, and he's in Indonesia on the island of Sumatra, and he's joining us on the phone right now. Good morning, Robert.
Let me make sure we've got him because he is via satellite.
Everyone.
There he is.
You are.
Good morning.
Via satellite, and of course from Myrtle Beach Safari and Tigers Preserve. What are you doing over there in the island of Sumatra? Drinking coffee?
Drinking coffee. I need to. I know it's still pretty early morning there. It's pretty late evening. It's been a long day for me already, but we're here doing some conservation work with the Rare Species Fund, which is a nonprofit part of our Myrtle Beach Safari. So we take money from the encounters that we have there in Myrtle Beach and the Grand Strand, and we take money and we put it directly into projects where it's helping save animals in the wild. So we're literally here helping to save tigers and orangutans and rhinos on the island of Sumatra.
So where did you start your trip? Because I was following you on Facebook, and you were like all over the map, literally.
This trip is going to be outrageous. Yeah, I started in South Africa. I led the safari there. I was in Africa for about 3 weeks before I headed to Asia. So I was in Uganda working with mountain gorillas and chimpanzees there on behalf of the Rare Species Fund, and then flew to Indonesia, and I've got to fly back and forth. Let me tell you, I have 27 flights in 34 days, so I have got a lot of traveling under my belt so far.
Robert, this is Travis Stanley. One thing I wanted to bring up so our viewers can hear it and maybe talk about it a little more is, are you seeing a more elevated support for the conservation of certain exotic animals, not only here in the States, but internationally? Are you seeing that become more of a presence?
It is slowly, but it's something that, especially in some of the bigger cultures like this, it's going to take time to change a culture, and you really need to start with the next generation. But a lot of what we're doing right now is directly working, going into the field, helping with anti-poaching. I've got actually a handful of snares in my hand right now that we removed from the forest.
Wow.
One of the big things that we did, there was in the early 2000s, there was a kind of a civil war in this part of Sumatra, and the research station that was here to help protect these animals was destroyed during that conflict, and the Rare Species Fund paid to build a brand new research station because for about 15 years that area has just, no one's been looking after it. There's been no rangers there, so we have made that happen.
Robert, this seems like it's the longest trip that you've been on there since I've known you. Is this an extra?
It is. Yeah, it is. It is quite a bit longer, but I mean, there's so much work to do, and this is somewhat of our off season, a little bit slower season. So I'm just taking this time to make sure that those animals are, being saved in the wild in the places they still exist.
Robert, which animal species are you finding are in the most danger these days?
A lot of times it's the megafauna. You're talking about rhinos and elephants and big cats and bears and that kind of thing. And we really try and focus on the biological hotspots, which I'm in the layer sewer system in Sumatra, which is the only place in the world that is home to tigers, rhinos, elephants, orangutans, and bears all live in the same forest here.
Wow. All right, that's amazing. Now, I just wanted to say, I have been on that wild encounter over at the Myrtle Beach Safari before, but recently, Robert, while you were away, I had an opportunity to take part in the night tour, your new night tours there. It's it's a completely different experience, and the best part of the whole thing was all that extra time I got to spend with Bubbles, the elephant. She's just
you got to spend with Bubbles because it's it's made to be a much more casual kind of environment, an evening kind of thing where you're hanging out almost like a big dinner party, except the guests are all giant animals. So, I was interested in seeing what you thought about the night tour, having been on a regular day tour. So
yeah, and the night tour it doesn't start too late. It's like 5:30ish. But what happens is it's a new facility that you've kind of built, a new area there, which is spectacular, and you still have all the same interaction with all the animals you would during the day, but it's a smaller group of people. The animals are just kind of out there, and of course, highly attended by the people that work there, and you get to go up to them multiple times instead of just that one time, and then you go away and go on to the next event. But I got to go up to Bubbles like 2-3 times, and I was hanging out with the lemurs and hanging out with the gibbons. I mean, it was just like hours worth of constant contact. It's fascinating.
Robert, quick.
It really is. Yeah, it really is an amazing experience.
It is.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Robert, from the standpoint of support, obviously the initial support would be financial support for the mission of what you're trying to accomplish. But beyond just the financial support, how can folks reach out to you in your efforts as you go about? Is there other complementary items or resources that you need, that you see on the ground there, that folks here in the States can provide?
Honestly, the easiest thing to do and the best thing they can do is become informed consumers. The biggest problem that we're facing, the poaching, the illegal logging, the palm oil, all of those problems are basically because we as humans are consuming things that are coming from these wild territories. So finding out what you can do to reduce your consumption and consume sustainable items is really the best thing that everybody on the planet can do, and is going to make a big difference. You can find out more about that on our website on rarespeciesfund.org.
Yeah, and also you, if you have a person on your list that really is involved with, loves the idea of conservation, you could probably get them in a Wild Encounters tour as a gift. But also you sell some items where the proceeds go. Yeah, that would be an amazing. I think be the ultimate Christmas gift. A trip to the Myrtle Beach Safari, either the day tour or the night tour. But we do also sell some items in our little shop there when you come to the safari. Like we sell custom canteens that I just, water bottles, like Nalgene water bottles that I just had made, and that was going to the rangers in Africa. And for every one that you buy, we supply one directly, put it into the hands of a ranger in one of these countries who's helping save animals, doing anti-poaching directly. So, Robert, I know we're on borrowed time on your satellite phone there. So anything else you would like to tell us or share about your experience on the safari that we should know about? Something you learned?
One thing that I learned is that I've learned all kinds of stuff just with all the cultures, but one of the kind of creepiest things I sent in a text to you or in the email to you is that I finally got all the leeches off of me. Everybody kind of sees, you see the Facebook posts and see I'm over here having this great time, but nobody really understands how hard these guys are working in the field to save these animals. And being in the jungles of Indonesia, I found out that the leeches don't live in the water; they live on the land, and they hunt you down and seek you down. So it's like nightmare come true. But what we're supplying these guys, all the equipment, the rubber boots and the raincoats and all the stuff to actually help keep the leeches off, as well as do all their other jobs, is very important. I spent 2 days on patrol with one of the groups of rangers out in the forest. We left the research station, went into the bush, camped out there in the middle of the forest. And some of the people that you would think, you wouldn't necessarily think of as conservationists really have become. Again, there was a big conflict that happened here. Some of the former militia, the Aceh freedom fighters who were living in the jungles, fighting, having their own civil war, because they've spent so much time in the jungle, they make the most awesome rangers because they know the jungle so well. They know how to find snares, and they're really doing an amazing job. And what's really amazing is all the money to fund this stuff is coming from the Grand Strand, from the Myrtle Beach Safari and the Rare Species Fund.
That's awesome. And if you want to learn more about the Rare Species Fund, go to rarespeciesfund.org. Or if you want to learn more about the tours, go to myrtlebeachsafari.com. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Go to myrtlebeachsafari.com. And as I understand, have they decorated for Christmas for the night tour yet?
Oh, yes. They had the Christmas tree up. It was beautiful. The fireplace. We were making s'mores outside. It was awesome. And they feed you, and it was just absolutely wonderful. It was great. Loved it.
I can't wait to come home and see all the Christmas decorations. Really, right now I'm sitting next to the Indian Ocean, and it's 9:00 at night, and it's about 94 degrees and about 97% humidity. So,
and you'll be heading home
I'm
sometime.
Excited to be home for Christmas.
Yeah, you'll be home early next week, right?
Yep. I'll be home in the middle of next week. So.
All right. Well, have a safe trip, and thanks for everything that you do to help us preserve these beautiful creatures. It's amazing. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time and letting me call in again, and I look forward to being back in the studio with you guys.
All right. You will soon. All right. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you when you get back.
All right. Take care, everyone.
All right. Bye, Robert. It's 8:46 on the Hot Talk Morning Show.